Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to express our regrets and my regrets on the brutal murder of 2 young women in recent times. It is unfortunate when these incidents happen in our country, and these 2 women go by the name of Alana Bernard and Jolie Williams. The same applies to instances when young men and older men experience untimely death in our country. And this is what we articulate when we speak of gender equality. Mr. Speaker, permit me to extend greetings to the constituents of Barbados and to you, Mr. Speaker, for starting off the discussion in Parliament in 2025. And I trust that we will have a very successful year in this House. Mr. Speaker, as we approach International Women's Day in 2025, we need to celebrate our achievements and develop the courage to face the challenges ahead of us as we continue to strive to achieve gender equality in our society and beyond. The theme for International Women's Day 2025 is "For all women and girls, rights, equality, and empowerment." For this year, we will start off with a concert at the Cultural Center from 7:30 p.m. by Lady Lynn on March 1st. She has decided to collaborate with the Department of Gender, where she will promote her legacy as a woman who has made her mark in Calypso. We will have spiritual celebrations that will involve both men and women at the Derek Walcott Square from 10 a.m. on March 6th. We are developing a documentary on the progress of St. Lucia on Beijing Plus 30, honoring women who have contributed to the national development from various constituencies. We will have intergenerational mixer that will be at the Sanders Grand on March 7th from 10 a.m. And we have sessions on women leadership seminar and many other activities. I encourage everyone to support these events as part of our commitment to advance gender equality in St. Lucia. Mr. Speaker, I am both proud and humble at the same time to be the one to present to you on the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action, the landmark global framework for advancing gender equality and women's empowerment has been implemented in St. Lucia since 1995. It is surreal that this roadmap is the outcome document of a conference that I participated in 30 years ago in Beijing, China. Mr. Speaker, the overview of the Beijing Platform for Action, adopted in 1995, remains one of the most comprehensive global blueprints for gender equality. It outlines 12 critical areas of concern where progress needed to have been made to the advancement of women in national development. It includes women's access to education, health, economic opportunities, and participation in decision-making. Over the past 3 decades, although St. Lucia has made significant strides in implementing this platform, some challenges remain. However, the progress in advancement of women in St. Lucia since implementing the Platform for Action speaks. And here I highlight in a chronological order from 1995 to 2024. Over the past 30 years, St. Lucia has achieved progress in legislative strengthening, political participation of women, notably in the Senate, economic empowerment, education and skills development, and social protection. Some of these milestones include, in 1995, representation of the 4th World Conference on Women, Beijing, China, agreement on Beijing Platform for Action, ratification of Belém-do-Pará Convention, Inter-American Convention on the Prevention, Punishment, and Eradication of Violence Against Women, enactment of Domestic Violence Summary Proceedings Act. In 1996, we had the enactment of Attachment of Earning Maintenance Act. In 1998, change in nomenclature to reflect policy shift to gender and development. In 2000, enactment of Equality of Opportunity and Treatment in Employment and Occupation Act. In 2001, formal opening of Women's Support Center, a shelter for battered women and their dependent children. 2006, presentation of St. Lucia's initial 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, 5th, and 6th report to the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women at the United Nations, CEDAW, New York. Enactment of Counter-Trafficking Act in 2010. In 2016, development of Partnership of Action to End Gender-Based Violence. In 2017, publication of Running in Hills. In 2021, adoption of Essential Service Package for Women and Girls subject to violence. Establishment of Gender-Based Violence Referral Pathway. In 2022, enactment of Domestic Violence Act number 11 of 2022. Establishment of Women's Parliamentary Caucus. In 2023, establishment of Gender Focal Points. And in 2024, establishment of National Interagency Task Force for Gender-Based Violence Prevention and Response. In the last 4 years alone, we have strengthened legislation. St. Lucia became a part of the agreement in 2021 ensuring women's participation in environmental decision-making and access to justice in environmental matters. The Domestic Violence Act, number 11 of 2022, expanded the definition of domestic violence and increased protection for victims. It also mandates regular training for law enforcement and other state actors. Mr. Speaker, as it relates to women's political representation, we have for the first time in history achieved gender parity in the Senate, where over 50% of the representatives are female. Additionally, the President of the Senate is a woman. The establishment of Women's Parliamentary Caucus in 2022 has provided a platform for women in politics to advocate for gender equality. And this parliamentary caucus is bipartisan from all political parties. In the area of economic empowerment, initiatives like the MSME Loan Grant Facility and the Youth Economy Agency have provided women with access to finance and business development opportunities. Notably, 49% of MSME loan recipients are women, a significant step towards closing the gap in the entrepreneurship. Programs developed by organizations such as Helen Daughters have empowered rural women in agriculture, providing scholarships and training to enhance their skills and market access. Mr. Speaker, in the area of education and skills development, St. Lucia has made strides in promoting STEM education for girls, with initiatives like the Renewable Energy Sector Development Project, which offers scholarships and apprenticeships in traditionally male-dominated fields. The establishment of technical and vocational education and training, TVET, centers have provided employability for young women, particularly in underserved communities. Mr. Speaker, as it relates to social protection, the introduction of universal health care for pregnant mothers and the removal of VAT on sanitary napkins have improved access to health services and menstrual hygiene products. The Home Health Program and the Disability Grant have provided support for elderly persons and persons with disabilities, many of whom are women. Mr. Speaker, despite these many great gains, it is important to highlight some challenges and setbacks. Gender payback and occupational segregation. Women continue to be overrepresented in the low-paying care sectors, while men dominate higher-paying technical fields. The gender gap in St. Lucia is estimated at 22%, with women earning less than men across various sectors because of the type of work mostly associated to women and those associated with men. Gender-based violence, COVID-19 pandemic, exacerbated gender-based violence with an alarming increase in intimate partner violence and women's death due to murder. Unpaid care work. Women bear the brunt of unpaid care and domestic work, which limits the participation in the formal economy. The pandemic highlighted the need for policies to recognize, reduce, and redistribute this burden on women. We welcome the minimum wage, which has certainly improved the quality of life of many women. Poor media representation of women. Women continue to be stereotyped in the media, often portrayed as objects of pleasure rather than as leaders and professionals. This perpetuates harmful gender norms and limits women's visibility in decision-making roles. Pushback on gender equality. There is a growing perception that women's empowerment threatens men's stability, leading to resistance against gender equality initiatives. This pushback undermines progress and requires targeted intervention to address them. Mr. Speaker, given these areas of progress and the challenges and setbacks highlighted at the national consultation held last year to review Beijing Platform for Action, some national priorities for the next 5 years were proposed. Unpaid care and domestic work. Implementing policies to recognize, reduce, and redistribute unpaid care work, including expanding affordable childcare services. Eliminating gender-based violence, strengthening enforcement of Domestic Violence Act, and increasing support services for survivors. Access to health care. Improving access to sexual and reproductive health services and education. Poverty eradication. Leveraging women's contribution to agriculture and food security to reduce poverty, particularly in rural areas. Challenging discriminatory social norms. Launching national campaigns to challenge harmful gender stereotypes and promote gender equality. To achieve these priorities, we must strengthen partnerships, collaborate with civil society, development partners, and the private sector to implement gender-responsive policies and programs. Invest in data and research. Improve the collection and use of gender disaggregated data to inform decision-making and monitor progress. Enhance accountability for gender equality. Establish clear indicators and reporting mechanisms to track progress on gender equality goals. Promote inclusive leadership. Encourage more women to take on leadership roles in politics, business, and community organizations. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the 30th anniversary of the Beijing Platform for Action is not just a time for reflection, but also a call for action. Gender equality is not a woman's issue. It is a societal imperative that benefits everyone. As we move forward, let us commit to the principles of Beijing Platform for Action, of which we continue to be a party, and work together to create a St. Lucia where every man, woman, girl, and boy can live free from violence, discrimination, and inequality. I call on all women, young and old, men and young boys, to join in the celebrations to promote all women and girls as they strive to achieve their rights, equality, and empowerment to advance development in our nation. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.